I'm holding the hammer in my hand, yeah, just to
Sure.
scare everybody. Yeah. So now I call the meeting to order.
Great. Thank you.
Good evening to all you Toastmasters and guests. I, Xavier Chettiar, yours truly, and the Sergeant at Arms, take pleasure once again in welcoming you to the first official meeting of Eloquent Elites Toastmasters Club. At the outset, allow me to remind you of the Toastmasters mission is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. For any event to be at its best, we must be at our best. Hence, we have some virtual ground rules to observe. We know all our male and female Toastmasters are handsome and beautiful. So please keep your videos switched on so that we could see you. Please ensure all the noise disturbing tech devices are switched off or on silent mode. Do not move off camera when a speaker is speaking, as it may distract the speaker. Please refrain from speaking about sex, politics, and religion in your speech at all the times. I always envisage to be a master of ceremony or an event management host, but the fear of facing the audience and not living up to the expectations always dissuaded my ambition. My acknowledgement to the Toastmasters Forum and to my mentors to providing me now a new forum to reach that dream goal. This reminds me a quote by Napoleon Hill. It takes half your life before you discover life is do it yourself project. A law graduate and a fashion entrepreneur by profession, please welcome President Toastmaster Kusuma Rao.
Good evening, everybody. And thank you, Sergeant at Arms, for starting the meeting on time. And let me first wish everybody a happy Gudi Padwa, Yugadi, Vaisakhi, Vishu. We have so many states celebrating different, the same festival with different names. This is the harvest time in India, and all are very happy. We hope that we will get a good harvest. Yeah, so we are praying for better days. We have seen a very bad year, and we hope that the coming year will be much better and much healthier. Today's theme of the day is reinventing yourself. When I hear of this word reinvent, I always think of reinventing the wheel. That is how we started thinking of reinventing. Now, reinventing the wheel, what does it mean? It means to duplicate something that is already existing, which means it is a totally unproductive work, which you should not be doing. I remember our teachers telling us, why did you do this? This is, are you planning to reinvent the wheel? Means, what a waste of time. Yeah. Whenever I think of this reinventing the wheel, I think article where he said when he went to England for his research and he saw that what he had taken years to calculate was already existing in England. And what he had taken, the formula that he had invented, they did not know anything about it. The methods were very different. So what he felt at that time, if only we could have exchanged our research papers, we need not have wasted so many years. So on that note, let me also talk about reinventing yourself, which is diametrically opposite to reinventing the wheel. It means to conceive a dramatic change that looks absolutely new. Now, this has been what we can say that this particular theme has been introduced keeping the COVID days in mind. We all of us, I can see the smiles on everybody's face when I'm asking, did you reinvent yourself? Yes. Some of us in small measures, some in mediocre measure, and many of us have taken gigantic steps to reinvent ourselves. Because if we don't reinvent, then we perish. We have no choice. So, reinventing yourself is very, very important because it is a survival kit for not only the human beings who are thinking, reasoning people, but also to every living creature. As you can see, the cockroaches existed for lakhs of years because it has reinvented itself to the existing environment. So if we don't reinvent ourselves, we perish. So on that note, let me introduce the theme of the day, that is reinventing yourself, and wishing all our speakers all the best and hope you all do extremely well. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening, Zubair.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, President Kusuma. So good evening, everyone. As you already know now, the theme of the day is reinvent yourself. In this context, I am reminded of the words of George Bernard Shaw. Life is not about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. I'm very glad that we all are here to create the best version of ourselves as communicators as well as leaders. So, friends, the meeting is divided into three segments. The first segment is prepared speeches. Second segment is table topics. The third segment is about evaluation, speech evaluation, and this will be conducted by our general evaluator, Toastmaster Rahul Patil. Now we will start with the first segment. Today we have three icebreakers and we have one guest speaker from Washington, D.C., USA. The evaluators will give timing guidelines. When you make a building, the strength of its foundation, costing, and aesthetics all are important. Similarly, when we look at the speech, the grammar, lucidness, and timing, all three are equally important. So, grammar is like a beam in a house, not seen, but hold up the speech. Toastmaster Girija Deshpande, a role player as grammarian, will explain her role. Toastmaster Girija ma'am. I think you are on mute.
Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. It is not the strongest species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the ones most responsive to change, that is, the ones that reinvent themselves. And they rejuvenate and adapt themselves. So even grammar adapts itself to change. So Chicago style books tells the latest changes in the grammar rules. One, never end a sentence with a conjunction. That is not anymore the rule. So the rules that have changed, I'm talking about. So earlier rule was never end a sentence with a preposition. Now it has gone out of style. You can. Never start a sentence with a conjunction. No, now you can. Don't use sentence fragments. You can. Never use who when you should use whom. No. Never split infinitives. They is not a pronoun. These 6 changes Chicago style book has adopted. As the grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all the speakers and listen carefully to the language they use. I'll take note of misusage of the English language, if any, as well as the outstanding usage, which is what I'm looking forward to. As a grammarian, it is also my responsibility to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word is rejuvenate. Yes. So you can see it here. Can you spotlight that, please?
Yes, I'm doing that.
Yes. So the word of the day is rejuvenate. So learn to pronounce the verb rejuvenate. Give new energy or vigor to. That is the meaning of the word. So it is used in sentences like this exercise and the fresh air rejuvenated me. And another meaning is restore youthful appearance to, when you can say something like exfoliation rejuvenates the skin. I request all the speakers to use the word of the day. I will present my report when called upon by the general evaluator. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, coming to the second segment, which is lucidness of a speech, and it is affected by the pillars. We have Toastmaster Anushri, who will explain her role to all of us. Over to Anushri.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, friends, and guests. My role as an AHA counter is to count the number of fillers that you make. For example, ah, m, and you are using words such as I mean, you know, at regular intervals. These are fillers that would affect your effectiveness in delivering your speech. Best of luck to the speakers of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anushri. Now coming to the third one, which is equally important, timer. So timer helps speakers stay within time limits. We have Toastmaster Xavier, who is a timer today, and he will explain his role to all of us. Toastmaster Xavier.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, a very good evening to you all of you. I am the timer today. My role as a timer entails me to track the timings of the entire meeting. As per the agenda, today we have three segments: the prepared speeches, the table topics, and general evaluation. In the speech segment, we have three icebreakers for which the timings are 4 to 6 minutes. The speaker should speak for a minimum of 4 minutes and not more than 6 minutes and 30 seconds. I'll be showing green paper at 4 minutes and yellow at 5 minutes and red at 6 minutes, and it will remain on till the speaker finishes the speech. For the table topics and general evaluation, I shall give you the timings and guidelines at that time. At the end of the meeting, when called upon by the TMOE, Toastmaster of the evening, I shall present my timing report. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you so much. Now we will commence with the first segment, which is prepared speech section. Dale Carnegie said, there are always three speeches for everyone you actually gave. The one you practiced, the one you gave, and the one you wish to give. How true this is. The first one as a speaker today is a guest from Washington, D.C. So we have an evaluator for that. So evaluator for the guest speaker is Toastmaster Krishna Raj Rao. A small introduction of Mr. Krishna Raj. He is the DTM, which is Distinguished Toastmaster, past division as governor for District 80. So this is the highest award which comes into Toastmaster. Currently, he is advisor to Thomson TMC Singapore. He has been as a Toastmaster for last 10 years. He is also a president and co-founder of consulting company for oil and gas projects for last 10 years. His hobbies are reading, golf, traveling, Toastmastering, and something which we all are missing, partying. His life philosophy, enjoy the journey, you die only once. The speaker is Toastmaster Manuela from Washington, D.C. The time limit for her speech is 7 minutes and 30 seconds. She is a Toastmaster since 2003, but took a break for some years. Her speech is a dry run for area division contest. I request all the three speakers presenting today, icebreakers, to pay attention now. So first, we will go with our guest speaker, and the topic is just a minute. I'm so sorry. Yes. So the topic for her is patriotic allegiance, an immigrant story. Toastmaster Manuela, over to you.
I can't see her in the participant.
She was there. No?
No,
She's there. She's there. She has to unmute.
Yeah, she's on mute.
She's there. She has to unmute. That's
Is
all.
there? Manuela, can
Manuela,
you
please
unmute yourself?
Spotlight her. She's here.
She's
She
there.
has to
Just
on her
unmute.
video. She has to on her video, then we will be able to spotlight her.
Oh, I think she's there. The video.
She's there. Video is also on. I can see her.
The video is on. Yeah.
Video is
Audio
on.
is on mute.
Just the audio is.
Pramod,
You have to unmute. Manuela, you have to unmute. Can't hear you.
Manuela,
Can't hear you.
Can the host unmute?
we are not able to hear you.
Can't hear
Unmute
you.
yourself. Unmute yourself. Please
Unmute.
unmute yourself. Just click on this link. There must be some pop-up. Yeah,
Is it? Is finally.
finally. Yes, we can see you. We can hear you.
Thank you so much for
All the best.
having me. When I woke up, I realized that I had to change the beginning because I'm speaking to the world. So let's try. I'm so proud of this speech, which has a meaning that refers to any person in the world, that it's now so connected. We are in a flat world. So let's start the clock. Fellow citizens of the world, this is how President Kennedy started in 1962 his inaugural address, inviting Americans to do something for their country and inviting citizens of the world to help build the freedom of man. We are 60 something years ahead of that, and we live in a flat and I'm sorry, and we live in a flat world. And many of us aspire to become citizens of more worlds, to go and live their lives in other countries. So one important thing is to build allegiance for the other country. And the other country's allegiance is not built by a green card or a citizenship certificate. It's built for what grows naturally in your soul, like the love at first sight. So my story today, dear fellow Toastmasters, and apparently I'm the only guest, is my story. No, it's not COVID. Of how my allegiance built. It started the day when I landed in America, in New York, on April 6, 2001, 20 years ago. The first thing I had to do was to call in Virginia when third parties were waiting for me and to let them know that I safely landed, but the connecting flight would be delayed for a long time. So I was advised that I have to look for the quarters, the 25 cents coin that would help me place the call. And not knowing how much would cost a long distance call, I gathered plenty of them. So after the call, I was left with many coins to look at. Some of them were just coins, but some of them made me feel like I was in a museum of art, culture, and history. The backside of the coin had different images and had names of states written on it. So I did not know at the time that in 1999, the US Mint, the government agency that's printing the money in America, started a collection called America's Beautiful Quarters. So about 8 of them were already issued, and it happened that I was looking at some of them. that collection ended this year in January, because for 10 years we had the states and then the national parks. So that moment of art, culture, and history was the seed that planted my feelings of allegiance toward America. 5 years later, I flew to Romania, my home country, the first time holding the green card. I had worked for this visit, which was the second, in fact, and I carried in my backpack two important items. One was a copy of the Washington Post issued September 12, 2001, the second day after the terrorist attacks, which was bought that day for my favorite teacher in graduate school. The second item were, in fact, 4 collections of the quarters already issued to give to children of my favorite friends there. It was a work of labor and patience and dedication, because I collected them from circulation, from what I got as change in stores and at the metro. My hard work was rewarded, as the mom told me later that the kids, 15 and 18 at that time, told her that they received the most heartfelt gift they ever got from friends of their parents. I flew back to the US with a few of these Romanian banknotes. As you see, there is no face on it, because this is a commemorative banknote, which also had a coin, to lock in our memory the very impressive eclipse of the sun in 1999 that crossed from UK down to India, if I'm not mistaken. And it was such a media hit, they put it even on a coin. So what did I do with them? I chose to gift one by one, but one, to children of Romanian friends. And they were so delighted to see an eclipse on a banknote. What am I doing now? After the quarters are done, I'm building 25 collections of dollars in the collection called American Innovation. So guess what? The polio vaccine is already out, the bulb, the telephone, and the Hubble telescope. Each state is gonna have its coin until 2032. I'm gonna be 70 in 2033. And we are gonna have a big party with all these children and probably their children at that time, with these collections, and each of them is gonna have a name. Each is gonna identify with one of the states, and we are gonna have this big party, my 70th birthday. And I think that after all that, President Kennedy up there is gonna be happy and enchanted with my way of building allegiance to America. Dear fellow Toastmasters, that's my allegiance to America.
Thank you so much for giving us the knowledge about that. So thank you so much, Manuela. Now moving to the 3 icebreaker speeches. Toastmaster Priyesh Thakur, evaluator of the first speaker, please, can you describe the evaluation objectives and timing guidelines? Or to Toastmaster Priyesh.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Zubair, fellow Toastmasters, and the esteemed guests. Let me quickly share the objectives of Icebreaker speech evaluation. They are to begin speaking before an audience, to introduce yourself, to discover speaking skills that you already have, and the skills that need some attention. These are the broad objectives of Icebreaker speech evaluation. Thank you, and over to Toastmaster of the evening, Zubair Wani.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priyesh. Toastmaster Pooja Banushali, you become the voices you feed. You become the voices you feed. Toastmaster Pooja Banushali.
Can you all hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Okay.
Yes.
So, yes, timer, I'll begin. Dear Toastmaster of the evening and fellow Toastmasters, I was in grade 7 when I was asked to deliver a speech by my teacher that I had to prepare in under 2 minutes. I can still remember how my body felt, palms sweating, blood rushing, heart beating, and my mind racing like an F1 race car. There were all these voices inside me. I possibly can't speak in front of such a large crowd. Maybe I can start with this line. No, that is so cliche. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this at all. There I was, a shy student, obedient schoolgirl, always the first bencher in class, listening very intently to everything that the teacher had to say and noted everything down. I had a very close resemblance to the girl from the nursery rhyme Chubby Cheeks, except for the curly hair and blue eyes, of course. In school, I wasn't the most social person in class. I had a handful of friends, but that was about it. Yet, I was kind of known in the school. Now, you would ask how? Well, giving public speeches was not my cup of tea, but I was in my elements when singing. I was the youngest in my music class, and my music teacher would always say music was a God gift to me. And anything relating to God would fascinate me, and so did music. Years in school went by, and my pursuit of perfection in academics consumed me. I traded off music and my music class to get top class grades. Well, fortunately, I did succeed at achieving them, but I didn't have the slightest idea of what I was missing out on until I made it to one of the top educational institutions in the city, St. Xavier's College, Mumbai. What happened in the walls of this campus shook me and have also made me who I am today. To my utmost surprise, I wasn't the academic hero there as I would have liked to be. Because everyone out there not just aced in academics, but thrived in the arts as well. Music, dance, drama, fine art, you name it, and you would find a master of these arts in the campus. This shook me to my core. Uh, my identity of an achiever came tumbling down. I felt betrayed that I ever had to trade music, that part of me that brought spontaneity and brought me to the present, that part of me that rejuvenated me. I had to betray that for grades. Thanks to the culture shock and the revolutionary syllabus that we were being exposed to, I started questioning everything, right from who am I and what is the meaning of my life? Is there God? And who is God? Do we really have the freedom to choose? And on it went. Back then, I didn't have a name for what I was going through, except everybody else in my family. Some named it depression, some blamed it on the positioning of some planets. Thanks to my background in psychology, I now have a term for it. It was one of my very first existential crisis. During this phase, the voices in my head started becoming louder and harsher. I haven't done anything worthwhile. I'm not enough. I don't even have the answers to the questions that I'm facing. I know nothing. And the need to know and derive meaning was so strong that I started seeking out the answers for these questions. And it wasn't easy, trust me. Self doubt, fear of the unknown, anxiety all creeped in. But then, in the midst of these voices, I heard a sweet, familiar voice that said, "You know what? You're enough." No one knows these answers, but discovering them is what life is all about. This inner voice that I had lost a long time back helped me this time to get back to my music class. This was the class where, along with music, I was introduced to a meditation practice called Sahaja Yoga. way back when I was in grade 2. The time when I probably wouldn't have gone beyond knowing the number of planets in our solar system, I was being introduced to this mysterious world inside all of us. The chakras and the subtle system and the way to connect to God, the skill of introspection, self awareness. Little did I realize that in the race to fit in and get good grades, I had somewhere unlearned these life skills, as I'd like to term them. Cut to the present. Friends, here I am today, having finished my master's in counseling psychology amidst a global pandemic. Here I am, having taken a workshop on mindfulness meditation for students at guess which college, St. Xavier's College. Here I am, still pursuing my hobby for music and learning the flute. Here I am, starting a career with a vision to equip young minds, not just with skills to aid their academics, but to equip them with life skills of self regulation, self awareness, emotional regulation. And no, don't get me wrong, I haven't mastered these skills either, but I'm trying. The need to strive for perfection hasn't gone either. But instead of beating myself up about it, I have learned to just try and do my best without worrying about the results. Which brings me here at Toastmasters, where I'll try my best to discover and learn the art of public speaking. Today, I wish I could tell you that the voice that feeds on self doubt and fear has gone. I wish I could tell you that this time around, when I had to deliver a speech, I didn't have the fear and anxiety anymore. Well, the truth is, these voices are still very much there. But the only difference now is that I have learned to reparent and reinvent myself. I have relearned the skill of positive self talk. I have learned that we are free to choose which voice we want to feed. Because eventually, friends, you become the voices you feed. So choose wisely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pooja, for a brilliant journey through your life.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, moving to next, evaluator for the next speaker is Toastmaster Gorang. As already the speech objectives are explained, we will go ahead with the next icebreaker. Toastmaster Girish Mittal, life on the move, life on the move, Toastmaster Girish Mittal.
Good evening, Toastmasters of the day and fellow Toastmasters. A very happy Gudi Padwa. I would like to share my icebreaker titled Life on the Move. Let me begin from the very beginning. I was born in a quaint town in Rajasthan in a Marwadi family. If you are imagining the idyllic settings of Lawrence of Arabia or the huge mansions of Dil De Chuke Sunam, we are nowhere close. My Janma Bhumi was a plain town named Nasirabad. Under the sunshine of my grandparents and the entire group, the toddler years were fun. I have no the folklore from the extended family endorse it. My father was working with the Indian Railways, and due to his transfer, we made the first move to Abu Road, another sleepy city in Rajasthan. With the of railways, enhanced technology, and bigger leadership role, my father was transferred to a city of banyan trees called Vadodara. The second move of my life was into my section Bhumi, Vadodara, where I entered the portal of school and completed the engineering degree there. How many valuable lessons of life were taught me there? We took a 6 a.m. bus for a 30-minute ride to reach school, which would start only at 7:30 a.m. That habit of continues to this day and helps me take up my morning long distance runs even today. Evening was the most awaited time of the day. Satolia, ice, gulli danda, kancha, and of course cricket. Sundays were match days with different teams. Festivals were celebrated with great fervor, especially mud pools and bhang were the special attractions for which we waited the whole year. Latter half of every December was consumed with preparation of kite flying. Days of 14th and 15th January every year. Manja had to be sharpened and Kaipoche resonated every 2 seconds. We learned not only to enjoy life but also to plan and prepare ahead and work in teams. Soon, friends, it was time to take important career decisions. Those who excelled had only one option then, science. getting admission into engineering was given, I had to stay put in Vadodara, being the only child of my parents, though I spent more in the boys' hostel and outside girls' hostels than at home. MBA from IIMs was a burning desire, but that dream crashed at GDPI levels. As I would not settle for anything less, I gave up the dream of being a management graduate. My decision to acquire an additional qualification in computers along with my engineering degree was the defining third move of my life. Those were the days of big computers with small memory and now obsolete floppy disks. After a few months of work life, my karma bhumi, Mumbai, beckoned me. I came to Mumbai literally with a and slept couple of days at Mumbai Central waiting room for and slept on the floor till I found abode in a chawl in Bhandu. Moving to Mumbai, my fourth move in life. I loved the energy of this city. Traveling in local bus and trains was a new adventure. And working here was a different feel altogether. If Vadodara corporate and an easygoing, Mumbai corporates were cutthroat. Being a Marwadi, doing dhanda was in the blood. And the bug bit me. And I started a company of my own. This became my fifth move. Around the same time, I got married. And Amita has been a strong pillar of support since then. We started with a company in US and Singapore. The overwhelming joy of bagging a first order is still fresh in my mind. Soon, a bolt from the blue struck us. Our partner company was acquired by IBM, and IBM closed our product line since it was competing with their own product. At that time, we were in process of large $1 million order at that time with a corporate. And imagine the head start we would have got if that deal would have fructified. We had to ourselves immediately and we reinvented. After struggling for a few months, we tried up with another company. And this relationship has grown over the years. Friends, this became my sixth move. I was invited to join Rotary, which I accepted reluctantly. But I have made friends globally. I get blessings of people when I help them. I am happy that I lived by my father's ideals of not living for oneself only. This became my friend's seventh move. Soon our was born, and she has been a lucky charm for us. We are trying to reinvent again to tide the flux in the business environment. Awaiting eighth move, as they say, picture abhi baki hai. I was initiated into running marathons, and this has built patience and perseverance. Friends, summing up, the important lesson of life which I've learned is take care of people and life will take care of itself. I always got people standing by me on their own volition in my hour of need. Thank you, friends.
Thank you, Toastmaster Grish, for moving us along with you in your journey today. Thank you. Moving to the third segment, speech evaluator. For that is Toastmaster Hari. We will go ahead with the icebreaker. Toastmaster Dheeraj Deshpande. Life is a design. Life is a design. Toastmaster Dheeraj Deshpande.
Hello. Thank you so much. Timer. Yeah. Life is a design. What you don't understand is abstract art. Toastmasters of the day and fellow Toastmasters, don't worry. I will not be MF Hussain. And you all do not have to scratch your heads to fathom what you're trying to say. I was born in Mumbai. Mumbai is called Maximum City, where there are limitless opportunities. It is also known as Maya Nagari, the city of illusions. Well, it's up to me what I make of it, Maximum City or Maya Nagari. I was not only born in this never sleeping city, but also in a fabulous, diverse family that is full of life and definitely not short of any drama. Just like the spirit of Mumbai, my family is loaded with energy. I don't remember this, but my family tells me that until I was 3 years and 4 months, I didn't utter a word, always smiling, and responding right, but not but not a sound. My mother was afraid. She was afraid to send me to a school. Only a doctor could calm her nerves. Gave her a simple solution. Don't give him anything unless he asks for it. Knowing my mother, you all know how difficult that might have been. So my doting sisters were also stopped from responding to me. Presto, it worked. In 2 months, I began to respond, and in different languages, which is why I call it diverse. Tamil, Hindi, and English, all of them together. I must say though, when I introspect myself, I feel that quietness alone is partly my nature. I was and continue to be in awe of the creation around me. Uh, when I was born, I had this thought that it was my parents maybe who created the surroundings as well. But as my circle grew larger and it expanded, I very much realized that humans are not capable of that miracle. I understood that even my parents looked up to a certain divine energy for the answers. Um, but I realized that that dimension is not easily accessible to me, at least not now. From first grade to fifth grade, all I did was majorly enjoying nature with my friends, going out, playing. Not a very studious kid, but I was more into sports, football. Um, During this phase, my childhood friends have stayed with me throughout their thick and thin. Their parents considered me as this very calm and soothing person who will be a friend and guide them through their tough times. Kid, I majorly read Tintin, Archie's. As I grew up slowly, I understood the deep of other stories which were told to me about Christ, be it Ramayana or Mahabharata. And now I've turned a bit more towards the intellectual side where I'm reading more about businesses, startups, logos, because life is a design for me. So early in my teen years, I was introduced to the Microsoft computer. And the best game of the time for me was Road Rash. I am sure some of you might have played that game. We friends used to play this and would just discuss our dreams. I had just two dreams. One was to make a suit strong enough to withstand the sun's heat. And the second dream was to be a game designer just because I used to playing with my friends, having them over and playing the game. Well, I guess maybe the first dream was much more inspired by Hanuman because he liked mangoes and like I like him, like mangoes as well. You, some of the people who know me definitely will say that. Um, I learned some design softwares, Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, and slowly I distanced myself from my childhood. And these are two things that I understood, that art is not what you see, but what you make others see. And design is not about what it looks like or feels like, it's about how it works. My first 2 years in communication design challenged my. I saw things in nature which the younger me didn't see. From the barking of a dog to the meowing of a cat, and the street vendors making bhajiyas and playing jacks and trades of all sorts. I saw even the jugaad people. I didn't even miss an ant walking through the street. So that was a great significance. Art played a great significance to my life because it blew my perspective completely. Next 2 years taught me that as a design professional, art has to strike a balance between reality, creativity, and functional objectivity. A packaging has to look appealing, innovative, easy to open, and reseal. A book cover has to depict the author's spirit and appeal to the buyer's heart. Yes, design, of course, taught me the principles of life. While we live for ourselves, our radar should always catch signals from the people around us. Thank you and namaskaram.
Thank you, Junior Didi, for taking us through your amazing life journey. So with this, Toastmasters, we are done with the first section of the event today. Second, we will go now. So we begin with the second very interesting section of the meeting. Failure to prepare is preparing to fail, said John Warden. How do you prepare for impromptu speech? Just be calm and composed. Clarity of message will definitely happen. Here is to the table topics master, Pramod Bubna. Over to you, Pramod Bubna.
Thank you, Toastmasters of the evening, Zubair, Wani, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guest. A very good evening. One of the most exciting portions of this Toastmaster meeting is the table topic sessions. The main objective is to challenge members to develop their impromptu communication skills, to effectively think on the feet by answering unrehearsed questions. We also want to give each and every member an opportunity to speak at each meeting. So we request those who have not participated or neither presented a prepared speech to take this role as a volunteer. The table topics are specifically designed to develop the four essential communication skills. One is listening, thinking, organizing, and speaking. Today, as your table topic master, I'll be asking questions related to our meeting theme, Reinvent Yourself. Your response must be at least 1 minute and cannot be more than 2 minutes. We have a timekeeper, so you'll get a green signal after 1 minute, a yellow signal after 1.5 minutes, and a red signal at 2 minutes. I'll also encourage you to use the word of the day, rejuvenate. So let's get started. So anyone who wish to participate have to choose one number between 1 to 7. So based on the number, a topic would be given and the person would be speaking. So who wants to go first? Any number between 1 to 7. Oh, we have Anushri. Yeah, Anushri. So can you unmute yourself and let me know the number?
Yeah, I'll choose number 7.
7. Oh, wow. So Mr. Dhoni. The topic for you is a perspective on working from home, the good and the bad, but mostly good. Over to you, Anushri.
Working from home, a good and a bad. Okay, the thing is, each thing, as you said, has a plus and a minus point. Every coin has two sides. The good is you can work at your free time. There is no, there are not many people sitting on top of your head to get work done. But minus point, there is no end to working. You've got housework since thanks to lockdown, there is no maid working. Things are have to be done. Everyone in the house is working, especially married. Family, I really respect you all. Having kids around, bosses again calling you all, having con calls, Zoom calls. It's not easy. It does take a toll on every one of us. So I would say there are, of course, there are plus points you save money in traveling, you save money in eating out, you save money in partying, but yes, there is an immense work pressure. There is housework that has to be done, like men, women, family, like everyone is working, doing housework, plus doing office calls, plus attending calls, which does take a toll on your mind. This is what I feel.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anushri. So we have next speaker. Anyone wants to go?
Okay. can request guests also to participate if
Y-
there are more members there outside.
Yes. So we
Yes.
have TM Mayuri who wish to
Yeah.
join. So
Hi, I'll choose number 3.
number 3, established brands that do not update themselves die.
Established brands that do not update.
Selves die.
I'm sorry, that do not update.
That do not update themselves die.
They
Themselves
die.
and they're dying. Okay.
They die.
Okay. Established brands that are okay. Okay. I would say MTNL. I would say MTNL. So we live in a world where you're supposed to reinvent yourself. I mean, reinventing is the norm, uh, especially in times like work from home, where Wi-Fi becomes very important. Uh, and you have new players and new entrants, and even your cable guys selling you Wi-Fi. Brands like MTNL the privilege of uh, who have the privilege of being the nationalized brands and being backed by government and being the respected first initial players, the first players in the market, have just because they've failed to reinvent themselves and they've failed to keep up with the demands uh, and fail to sort of deliver on what is required with the changing times. So they're failing. Not only they're failing in terms of branding themselves or communicating what they have to people, but they're failing in listening what people want. So I would say that the brands like MTNL, who could have taken advantage of being the first players, they are failing because they are supposed to be communication brands, and as communicators they're failing to listen to what people want, and hence I think they're failing to deliver. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mayuri. Uh, we have another one, Toastmaster Pankaj. So, Toastmaster Pankaj, can you let me know the number?
Yeah, I can go for number 2, but give me a minute, okay? I'll just park somewhere.
Sure.
Okay.
Let me know once you are ready. So,
Yeah.
we are going to have 5 speakers. So, 2 are done. Third one is Toastmaster Pankaj.
Is it fine if I keep it like this?
That's perfectly fine.
Okay, if I can get some light, if that makes more sense.
Yeah, this is better.
Okay, so number 2.
Number 2, topic is simple ways to rejuvenate yourself at home during COVID. Over to you, Toastmaster Pankaj.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pramod, for giving this opportunity. When this first thing came up, when work from home and COVID things, I was not really sure whether I would be able to do anything from home. Like everybody started cribbing, I also started cribbing that, I have to do a lot of things and what to do and what not to do. The simple thing in this COVID, we decided to sit down and talk. We decided to spend a lot of time internally. We decided to, eat at least one lunch or one dinner together. We also decided to play a lot of board games. We decided to make a lot of food. So we made samosas, I did pani puri, and so we did rasgullas, cookies. So my son is, he's sitting next to me and he's been part of the meeting throughout and he wants me to, he's telling me some things. What we realize is this was a blessing in disguise, and this moment of love, affection, and time would have never come to me if not forced. So I think COVID for us was a blessing in disguise. It gave us everything that we really thought is not possible in our life. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pankaj. Anyone else wish to go? So we have 2 slots. The guest, any guest would like to go for it?
I think Rishi is wants to go next.
I think she had already raised her
He
hand.
was waving.
Who wants to go?
It's Rishi Pramod.
Rishi. Just a second. Let me spotlight you.
I'm not sure if it's.
Yeah. So the numbers left are 1, 4, 5, and 6.
Number 1.
Failure is delay, not defeat.
Okay. Thanks. Hello, Toastmaster of the day and fellow Toastmasters. Failure is what we call, I think, what everyone is talking about. Initially, when this pandemic hit to all of us, we were not sure how it will go, and whether it's like all the businesses are closed down. I still remember being in place where standing on the queue for almost 3 hours to get the groceries, first time in the lifetime, and that the crisis was like that. After today, you won't get even the food to eat. Now that was might be, I'll consider that was a failure. See that there is no end, but as time moved on, we saw that how the things got streamlined, like whether it's for the food or I will say necessary items in first few months or weeks, and after that things got streamlined. Even the business, which all of us were thinking that there's not going to be how we are going to earn and make the monies. Now everyone is settled, and that's where the work is going. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rishi. Fifth one. So anyone wants to go last?
Hello.
Hello.
Gaurang here.
Gaurang, yeah. Yes, Gaurang. So we have numbers 4, 5, and 6.
I can go for 5.
5. Your topic would be, how are senior citizens reinventing themselves in this digital era?
Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Pramod. Senior citizens are a fantastic breed, to be very honest. And not only do they reinvent themselves, but given COVID, they rejuvenate themselves extremely nicely and in a fantastic way. We all thought they were old fogies and they don't know anything about technology. But you will be surprised. All the senior citizens in my area were doing walks. Now that walks are stopped, they are all on Zoom 2 to 4 hours a day and connecting with people after years across the world. They are doing things we never dreamt of. They are having yoga classes online. They are having music competitions online. They have started motivating each other. And when you are on Zoom, very close to the camera, they also can tell each other, you become fat, you become thin, and this is happening. And all the gossip has started with the Bahu and the Beta and the grandkids and all of that, right? And I was like, wow, they are more busy and occupied than I am. And that goes to my parents, our family, friends, all my relatives, and from all walks of life and all kinds of people and from everywhere. And it is amazing. And from all socioeconomic strata. So this very senior gentleman who's just about retiring and is a watchman in my building was sitting there with a smartphone in his hand. Guess what he was doing? Zooming with his friends. So I guess they reinvent much better than us. And yes, COVID is a chance for all of them, including us, to rejuvenate. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gaurang. Thanks to everyone who participated. Now back to you, Toastmaster of the evening, Zubair Wani.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pramod. Now with this, we are moving to our third and the final segment, which is general evaluation. Our general evaluator for the day is Rahul Patil. Toastmaster Rahul Patil will take us through to the session now. Over to you, Toastmaster Rahul.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity that I'm being given. I've been attempting evaluating, general evaluation for the first time. So do excuse me if I miss out something, and do support me if I miss out something. Starting with it, the meeting had started beautifully. It started well in advance. We started 15 minutes prior, taking care of the technical aspects of it. Yes, there was a challenge, but I always believe in Peter's principle. If anything can, if anything can go wrong, it will. You can't help it, and that's not the end of it. It will happen at the worst possible moment. So those are the points that we need to consider, and we need to move on. I think it started brilliantly. Toastmaster of the evening, I think he had done a brilliant job introducing everyone. It seems to be he has been doing for the lifetime, and he may continue doing it. Coming to the timer, I would only compare the timer to the Olympic watch that is kept, even that Seiko watch which is kept at the Olympics stadium, that might miss a time, but Xavier cannot. So I was not worried about that at all. He's a brilliant timer, and thanks, Xavier. Whenever you are there, keeping the time, I'm not worried about it. All right. Experience. It was an awesome experience to listen to the sounds of 3 Indian missiles that took off in form of icebreakers. 1 international guest speaker. It was brilliant. I don't know. I think the evaluators need to come in and evaluate individually, and preparedness of everyone. I believe everyone was spot on. One important thing, I think safe driving is very important. So whoever parked the car, just take care of yourself while driving. Pankaj, and speaking about the table topics, I think the topics were bang on. I think the responses were awesome. When you spoke about rejuvenation, I think I would love to add to it that the one thing that I learned in lockdown was the Rubik's Cube. That had been pending for quite some time. I think that was one thing that I learned, and I was happy about it. So, but important factor was there were 2 things that I kept in mind. Whether one was mental exercise for me at home, sitting at home, and one was the physical exercise. So Rubik's did take off the mental exercise, and physical exercise, obviously I could log on to any TV channel and do some exercises. Speaking about the grammarian, Google might go wrong, but Girija ma'am, who had been the teacher to my wife, how could I defy that? So thanks to Girija ma'am. When you have supporters like Girija ma'am and Xavier and Zubair, who takes care of the entire event, I really need not worry of the entire event flow. I think it went very smooth. Thanks. I invite the evaluators and evaluate their speakers. Thank you.
One by one, the
So we can go with the
and
first
yes,
one,
yes,
which is
yes. Our
Krishna
guest
Raj,
speakers, yes.
guest speaker
DTM
Krishna
Raj,
Raj,
yes.
DTM Krishna Raj. You're on a mute.
Unmute yourself.
You're on unmute, please, Krishna Ji. Yes, thank you.
Good evening, President and fellow Toastmasters, and a very good morning to Manuela from Washington, D.C. So I would like to evaluate your speech into 3 segments. One is your presentation and what I liked about your speech and areas for improvement. Every speech is like that. You always evaluate the presentation and the good things and areas for improvement. All of us needs to improve our speech every day, even me. Even now, being a distinguished Toastmaster, I need to improve my speech. So starting with your presentation, You had a very good eye contact with all the audience. All the time you are looking at people and then talking. That's very essential for a good Toastmaster. That's a good thing I liked about it. And also it was a well-organized speech. And also you opened it very well, saying that good evening, fellow citizens of the world. Just like Swami Vivekananda when he talked in Chicago a long time ago. That was a good. That brings all the people together saying that want to listen to you. The good things I liked about your speech, about you was you're very calm, very articulate in your presentation, and you're not looking at the prepared speech. I gather that you're still a Toastmaster. That means you're not yet finished your project 6, I presume. So generally, until project 6, you can look at your speeches and then speak. But beyond that, you are supposed to speak without looking at the paper. So you did that very well. Without looking at the prepared speeches, you're just looking at the people and then speaking. That's very nice. Now areas for improvement. All of us need to improve. Number 1, your title is too long. For example, you said that, seeds of patriotic allegiance, immigrant story. So instead of that, you could have just said an immigrant story that will fit your speech. Because I didn't see the seeds of patriotic allegiance in your speech. What actually you're talking about. So just a suggestion. That's what I feel. So maybe you should do that. Just always when you're doing a speech, give a short title. Then you have areas for to talk is very large. Then use opening. You started with the opening. You just go for the straight away say that good evening, President and fellow Toastmasters. No need to say that I got up in the morning and then I'm very nice to be here and all that. Nobody's interested in that. They want to hear what you want to say about your patriotic seed or your patriotic immigrant story. That's what they want to hear. So straight away go to the topic, what do you want to say? Because you have a limited time of only 7 minutes. So go to that. Don't talk about, thanking the president and the people who are looking at you and all that. Not necessary. Just your point that you could improve. Then most important is that, all the coughing, you do it before the speech. You cough and clear your throat before you come to the speech. It's like a singer who wants to sing, then, halfway through he gets, so it is a bit of a confusing. Just go for that. Just say that, clear your throat and then speak about it. If it is difficult for you, have a shot of whiskey or, any other alcoholic drink that will clear your throat. It will be very nice. Then what is your project objective? That's very important. In every speaker, you need to have I know I'm going to exceed the time, but I would like Manuela to improve her speech because she has come here today to give a feedback from us. So I need to give some good feedback to Manuela so she improves and becomes a champion or champion speaker of our club or the area. So I would like to give that. So clear is your project objective is very important. What are you trying to do? Is it an inspiring speech? Are you trying to inspire people or persuade people? Because I myself am an immigrant to Singapore. So I thought that it is going to be a regenerating speech to see your perspective when you came from Romania to USA. What was your reaction? What happened to you? How the people treated you? What made you to stick to US, take up the citizenship? So that's what I was looking for. But whereas I didn't find that in your speech. Maybe you put some thoughts into that, saying that what made you to stick to US? Why are you not going back to Romania? That will be a good idea. That will be a good suggestion for you to take it up when you're going for your contest. And just say immigrant story and say your story. What is your story? Where you came from and where you're going and why you're sticking there. That's very important. Otherwise, long title and without having a focus on your presentation doesn't impress people. It doesn't cause an impact on people. This is what I want to say. In summary, your eye contact with the audience was good. You're calm and cool and very articulate in your speech. Areas for improvement, clear your throat, have a short title. Thank you. Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you so much, DTM Krishna Raoji. Thank you. Moving to the second evaluator for our first speech, which is Icebreaker. Toastmaster Priyesh Thakur, your evaluation for Toastmaster Pooja.
Yes, thank you, Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Zubair. Pooja, many congratulations. It was a fantastic presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, a feedback about Pooja's presentation in terms of the elements, the essential elements of a presentation are, she started off with a beautiful story that generated a lot of interest in the mind of the audience. Then her speech clarity was really nice. Vocal clarity like voice intonation, volume, etc. was bang on. She maintained a lot of eye contact, which is extremely difficult in the virtual environment. She she came across as very calm, composed, poised presenter. Her command on language was easily seen, ladies and gentlemen, in her presentation. Usage of words like cliche. She attempted a humor by using chubby cheeks when she tried to describe herself. When the presentation required voice modulation of a sing-song pattern, she did that. Very, very attentive there. It came across that she's extremely prepared, and she also rehearsed for the presentation. That's the feeling that came out of your presentation, Pooja. There were a lot of sequence of events. The usage of words like derive, anxiety, amidst, affirmative, reinvent were something to learn from. For as per me, things that could have been better, that needs a little bit of attention, is usage of gestures. Your hands all the time was not to be seen during the presentation. If you use your hand movements, it enhances the meaning, it enhances the volume, intonation, stress in your speech. You can also add a bit of body language that will make you better. One last thing which could have been better is the speed with which you spoke. So your presentation had a lot of sequence of events, which probably could have been said in a better way by giving pauses at relevant times. So to summarize, if I have to summarize by two takeaways for everybody, ladies and gentlemen, is life gives you enough opportunities to rejuvenate. Please grab them from time to time. And the second is, when you truly love you, I repeat, when you truly love you, only that quality of love will ever do. So thank you very much, Toastmaster of the evening. Thank you very much, Pooja, for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Priyesh Thakur. Now moving to the second one, we had an evaluator, Toastmaster Goran, who will give us the evaluation for Toastmaster Girish Mittal. Over to you, Goran.
Thank you, Toastmaster Zubair. Coming to the icebreaker speech of Toastmaster Girish, there were some excellent points which I would like to highlight and which really caught my attention. Uh, Girish took us back to a very different era of life, which most of us could relate to, a different time, different space, a very different, simple childhood, and actually draw out the comparison as to where we are today and what we were situation. So I think that came across extremely well. There were some transitions which were the phases of life which Girish put forward. They were quite excellent. So we could actually relate and connect. And I still remember them. Childhood, then suddenly college application, move to Mumbai, roam around on the streets, start your company, your partner company gets sold, you are left stranded. So you remember all of that, and I've not noted down anything. So that was pretty strong. And the whole theme which came across as life on the move, which is kind of applicable to him. So we can make out that that is his story, and he's always on the move. Whether it's his own doing or situational, we don't know. But yes, that's where it is. There were certain areas where I think could have been better. I thought there were very few pauses in the speech. It was very well constructed. It was a good flow, but there were no pauses or hardly any pauses. So we had to sometimes pay a lot of extra attention to not lose the connect. There could have been more variations in tone and voice modulation, and also a whole lot of gestures could have come into the picture, which would have made it so much more interesting and catching. Uh, I think the first two happened because there was a desire to cram in too many facts about his life. And therefore, when you want to cram in something in 3 minutes, which is a life story, it does become difficult. In short, very good language. There were hardly any stumbles, fumbles. English was good. There were very good eye contact with everyone, and the speech was extremely clear. There is one aspect which is taking the speech to the next level, which would be my challenge to the Toastmaster. Just take 3 or 4 elements of his entire life and creating a compelling story and actually do a storytelling. And that would really take the speech to the next level. Thank you, Toastmaster Girish. Back to you, Toastmaster Zubair.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Goran. Now, moving to the third evaluator, Toastmaster Harin. He will give us his evaluation on Dheeraj Deshpande. Over to you, Toastmaster Harin.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you, Vivek Zubair ji. I would like to talk about Dheeraj Deshpande. He was full of life, vibrant, and I felt him very powerful. And he was very happy to share his story. And his story made others laugh and retrospect their own past. I saw him continuously smiling, and we can remember the song, He's a Jolly Good Fellow. And the best moments were when his mother was also continuously smiling, must be 20 times. So that's the most important part of my evaluation. Coming to the other points, he was very clear in his communication. There was no there was no problem regarding this vocal variety. He could reach out to the audience. He had excellent eye contact. He was full of gestures, and the special gesture, which has become very world famous now, especially in the times of Corona, is the Namaste, right? He did his Namaste, I think 3 or 4 times. He bowed his head, and I mean, telling you, it was very, very different for this young gentleman, and he will go great guns in the future. Right, about audience awareness, of course, there is nothing to say about it. We were all aware of it, and of course, he was aware of it. And he was very, very, he had a deep sense of critical thinking, design thinking. And when he talked about Photoshop, when he talked about comparing, not missing the ants, yes, that is deep thinking, deep analysis, how he looks at life with a different eyeglass, I would say. And he was very, very comfortable. I have really not having any suggestion for him to change. Maybe I'll have to listen much more and learn more from him to change him just now. That's and he captivated the audience. He had a lot of interest, and the topic was very interesting. I have one more point which I feel I have missed out. I think I've covered everything. So again, thanks to Girish Deshpande about the Namaste. I just love the Namaste part. Thank you, Toastmasters. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Harin. Now, moving to the second segment. So I would request Toastmaster Girija Deshpande, who played a role of a grammarian today, so to please give us your evaluation for all the speeches. Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Though we are all sitting in the same house, but I'm getting a lot of noise. I don't know about Dheeraj, he's in another room. So I'm just wondering, during the program, also I was very distracted by the noise. So pardon me if I missed some of the things today. Okay. So first I will start with the observation regarding our Sergeant at Arms. Sergeant at Arms started with the male and female Toastmasters are really beautiful. You can keep your video on. Now, the Chicago Manual of Style says use male and female only in scientific dissertation, or where in public places like washrooms or wherever people who are not educated come and you have to show those pictures. Otherwise, you use ladies and gentlemen. So you can say ladies and gentlemen here. That would be more appropriate, right? Then I'm very I have to express my Apologies to Madam Manuela Constantinesco. I couldn't hear at all. I was continuously trying different ways in which I could hear. I couldn't hear the speech, so I couldn't note down. Similarly, when Anushri spoke also, I had a lot of noise, so I could not note down the things. So both these speakers I left out. Yes. When Pooja spoke, there was probably a slip of the tongue. Every day the teacher had say, she said, probably it should be the teacher had said, right? Then the beautiful usages were like she used louder and harsher voices, and then she said sweet and familiar voice. So the contrast came out so beautifully, very well brought out. Similarly, I don't beat myself about it. Instead of beating myself about it, I take things now calmly as it comes. So that also, conveyed very powerfully the image of somebody getting anxious. Very beautifully done. And aced in academics, these were some of the phrases that she used. Then I go to the next speaker, Girish Mittal. How many habits were taught? So probably that is one place where you could have a correction, because habits are not taught, they are caught. So it is life that we catch the habits. Nobody teaches the habits. So how many habits were taught? Probably how many habits did I catch or were caught during my days? School days would have been perfect. Then otherwise there was no grammatical error. And some good usages were like dreams crashed, bolt from the blues stuck. There were beautiful images because that conveyed the shock value very clearly. Dheeraj Deshpande played a great significance to my life. It should have been played a great significance in my life. That proposition was wrong. Then otherwise, the imageries were so beautiful, did not miss an ant. The Jugad also I observed, the maximum city and the Maya Nagari, what I make up of it, all that, the imagery was very beautiful. And also I like that expression that dimension not accessible and calming, soothing person, looking up to the divine force, calming her nerves. These were good expressions. Anushri, my apologies. I was really disturbed. There was too much noise. Uh, Mayuri's message, listen to the clients. They failed to listen to the clients. That came out very strongly. Then Gaurang, I think it was Pankaj who said pandemic hit to all of us. Pandemic hit all of us. Then Gaurang's was absolutely perfect, where he mentioned about the socio-economic strata. The use of that and rejuvenate was strikingly different. Nobody else used the word of the day until, of course, the general evaluator also used rejuvenate with the use of Rubik's Cube. It was bang on. Of course, DTM Krishnaraj, we are so obliged to you for coming at such a short notice. And it was a great privilege to listen to you. The calm, cool, and articulate, very short messages, but very powerful messages you convey. Then Priyesh Thakur again, very, the usage of like turn was very interesting. And also he used the word rejuvenate, the word of the day. Toastmaster Gaurang on the move and took us on a different era of life, and the strong transitions, they were very interesting. These are the words usages which were very interesting. Harin used very powerful words to describe that Dheeraj was powerful, vibrant, he liked to share, and jolly good fellow, vocal variety. Very good terms that in very short words he could convey very powerfully. The usages came very perfectly. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I would probably take this up again so that I can do justice to the role, because I myself am not very convinced that I did a good job because of the noise. It was too distracting. I tried to remove, I tried to listen without the headphone, but it did not work. I'm very sorry about it. I have to listen to the recording. Hopefully that has come out well, then maybe that will help me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Girija Deshpande. Now moving to the second counter. So Toastmaster Anushri.
Good evening, Toastmaster of the day again. I'll be reading the AHA counters that I've done for the speakers and for evaluators.
Sure.
Starting Pooja, like there was no mistake in your speech at all, apart from you made a slight sound in the middle when you had just started the speech. With Toastmaster Girish Mittal, you said once and once. With Toastmaster Dheeraj Deshpande, you said 13 times, twice and once, and but you used once. Okay, and with our guest of the evening, Imalua, you have really made no mistakes. Apart from one single mistake, I would say you did was repeat has twice. You have repeated the word has twice. Now I would go to the evaluators. Priyesh, you have used the word twice. Gaurang, you have made again no mistake apart from using the word once. With Toastmaster Hiren, you have used thrice. And with the Toastmaster, like distinguished Toastmaster, Mr. Krishna Raj, you have used twice, thrice, and twice. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now moving to our timer, Xavier. So please, Xavier, you can tell us the timer. You're on a mute.
Sorry.
No problem.
So we had 3 speeches today. All the speakers were within the time and they all qualified. What I will do is like basically I will publish the time report card on the chat so that everybody can see their time and we can save on some time as well. And people can see it on the chat and I just publish it here. And this is what the so it shows here. Manuela took about 7 minutes 13 seconds. Pooja took 6 minutes 30 seconds. Girish took 5 minutes 35 seconds, and Dheeraj took 5 minutes 55 seconds. In table topics, Anushri, everybody qualified. So I have just put this up for everybody can see and see the timing that they have done. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Xavier. With this, I would like to thank you all for this opportunity to be the Toastmaster of the evening. We must always change, renew, regenerate ourselves. Otherwise, we will harden. Many of us reinvented ourselves a lot today, isn't it? With that thought, I pass the dice to our President Kusuma to take the session ahead. Thank you so much. Over to you, President Kusuma.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. I just wanted to ask if any of you would like to give some kind of a feedback to our guest speaker, because she is looking forward for some feedback she can improve. So if any one of you have, you all can either put it on chat or send it to her on the chat group privately, how she can improve, or you all can even speak about it now. Does anybody have any? Yeah.
May I?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. I besides the cuffing and the technical errors of unmuting and all that sir already mentioned, apart from that, I thoroughly enjoyed the currency story part of your story, and I would like to say I would like to I mean, I have a suggestion in terms of the story title. So instead of the immigrant story, if you call it the currency, say the universal currency of love. If that would have been the title of your story, the universal currency of love, then the story that you narrated is so easy to tie it to, and all the bills being exchanged and children being happy, and then you looking forward to your 70th birthday, and then looking forward to the currency that you're saving now to give it to them as token of love. It would so much fall in, it would all fall in place for me. So that's all I have to tell you. I did enjoy your story, and a different up together. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mayuri.
And Mr. Nair, would you like to speak something?
Me?
Yes.
Me?
Thank you, President. I think you're all a new club, and from where I come 13 years back, I feel that I could give you some suggestions on how the meeting could be run. There are so do I how much time do I have? Because I don't see any mentors or anybody to your club who's here who could have also said something. So I've made a few notations on how the meeting proceeded, and perhaps this is what we do in most of the clubs in Bombay. And if you could, and it will take Girija back in time.
Definitely. Yes.
Right. So
yes, absolutely.
We with the sergeant at arms opening the meeting and giving out the instructions and stating the mission of the club. That was done. The sergeant at arms has only this job all through the year. So how does he make his role a little better? He can make his role a little better by introducing the presiding officer. And that also, we don't need 5 minutes or 2 minutes and 3 minutes. All he has to do is, since you're having either a fortnightly or a weekly meeting, the sergeant at arms can ask the presiding officer which movie did he or she see, or what did they do in the preceding week or fortnight, and just 1 or 2 lines on that and introduce and then hand over the stage to the presiding officer. So you learn how to, the monotony of your role goes away. So you get also to learn how to introduce a person at any given situation, if not only in Toastmasters, in your personal life or your professional life as well. You will learn how to introduce somebody. The presiding officer, what we do is we do not touch on the theme for the day. The theme for the day is given only by the Toastmaster of the day, and the Toastmaster of the day has the prerogative to use it. And before he or she starts speaking, we should not. The presiding officer needs to have just a 1 or 2 minutes motivational story and say that I declare meeting, like you do in Rotary, I declare meeting so and so open. So I think you need to do that here as well. And I'm sorry, but that's not the hammer that you have. We use the proper word. It's the gavel. Of course, it could be the slip of the tongue, and when you're nervous,
It was just told for fun. Yeah, it was just told for fun because last time we had used something like that. Have a gavel, so they brought a hammer.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I was
just for the fun of it, you said it.
Yeah, that's true. But what happens is it's lost if there are guests coming in.
Yeah.
They wonder, why are you saying such thing? And even me as a visiting Toastmaster, when I see that a new club is using the wrong words, then it sort of affects me. Why is somebody saying such a thing? So the Toastmaster, then the just a 2-minute thing. And then if you have guests, you can ask the guests, why are you here? Not why are you? You have 45 seconds to tell us how you came to know about our club and what do you expect from the meeting. So you give them a chance to speak. So why does a guest come in? It's because I want to learn, I want to improve. So give them a chance to speak. And if they feel that they really do not want to speak, then you leave them. But let them introduce themselves, because here is the chance to talk and to introduce yourself. So give them a chance to do that. And then you introduce the Toastmaster of the day. The presiding officer has to introduce the Toastmaster of the day in 1 or 2 lines. The Toastmaster of the day takes it up, and from there. And I love the way the Toastmaster of the day today started off with some quote, and it was all wonderfully done. Now, please remember, you would invite the grammarian first, because the grammarians, with every, even, whoever starts, the grammarian has to start. Actually, what we do in our clubs and most clubs is that the presiding officer will invite the grammarian, because the grammarian starts the role with the presiding officer itself. That's how it is. Girija, probably I'll send you the flow and how it is to be done and what is to be
I
done.
think
Yes, that will help.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
yes,
will
I've
send you the
forgotten. Yeah,
flow of the meeting. That
right.
that would give you an idea how it is and how
That's
the
why.
things can be done. All right. So, so the presiding officer is introducing the grammarian, but the Toastmaster of the day, and please, it's the Toastmaster of the day. It's not the Toastmaster of the evening, and it has to be said. How you do it is O is small, TMO, and D is capital, O is small. That's how it is done. And we do not speak short forms. Of course, today I didn't hear anybody say, oh, it was the TMOD who said something. We must use the full form. The reason being, guests won't understand short forms. So please do not use short forms. Use the full form. Why are we seeing all this is because we want to turn the guests into members. So we have to make them feel comfortable so they know all the terminology. It's the aha counter. Please remember, there's in some clubs they also have the aha counter. When that is when humor is there, there's somebody who counts that. So it's different from an ah counter and an aha counter. So you have to be careful on that. The Toastmaster of the day failed to repeat the topic again for the guest speaker who was giving the speech. It said it only once, and it was so long that I couldn't catch what it was. But I'm happy that the evaluator had the whole, or either had a script, had the evaluation sheet which had the full title, because you need to say it twice, which you did for each of the speakers, but
not for the guest.
Yeah, the speakers need not tell the timer that I'm going to begin to speak now. The timer has to be attentive, and he starts the time when with the first spoken word or the unspoken gesture that is there, which begins the speech. And you have to be careful when you say there's a 30 seconds grace before the green and after the red to complete the speech. So you don't begin the speech at 4 minutes. You can end the speech at 3 minutes, 30 seconds as well. But you have to mention that that the speaker has 30 seconds before the green and after the red to end the speech in order to qualify. Because what happens is when you qualify, some clubs, they give a ribbon for the best speaker, then you have the polling, etc. So that's how it is.
We used to have.
The other thing is, if it was a physical meeting, we would have said, please refrain from crosstalk. Now, in a virtual meeting, when a speaker is speaking, we must avoid chats to everyone. If it's so urgent, please send it to the person concerned rather than sending it on a chat to everyone. So that's a disturbance. Please, we need to avoid that. Timer, please understand that you have to display the cards from the time that is there. So if it's a 5 to 7 minute speech, then the timer card comes on only at the 5th minute when the person finishes 5 minutes, reaches 5 minutes, and is displayed till it comes to 6, and you change it to the yellow at the 6th minute. You change it, and then 6 to 7 minutes, and then at the 7th minute it's red, and you have to display it all along, because I'm speaking and I really don't know at what level of time I am. So unless I look at the card, only then will I know. So, and the red card is displayed till the person has finished, and immediately the time is noted. The word is timer, and please avoid. I know we are all industrial. You all are all industrialists in Toastmasters. So the word timekeeper may come up to you. So we need to avoid. It's the timer and not the timekeeper here. I think we may avoid saying very when we are talking about greeting somebody, a very warm welcome or a very good morning or a good afternoon. I don't know from where this has come. How do you quantify that sort of thing? The very part of it. So the best is to say good morning, good afternoon, or thank you, I love it, or whatever. But try to avoid very on that. So those were the other thing is I would love, now you said there are 3 segments to the meeting. So the time, and you already have an agenda where you have each section beginning and ending. So you need to call the timer at every as the section finishes. Now, what is the point in reviewing or evaluating a speech if I do not know how long the person has spoken? So I need to know. So the call of time, the Toastmaster of the day, once the speakers have finished, ask for the timer's report. And the timer starts saying, Mr. X took so and so, Mr. Y took so much time. And the timer has to have the agenda with him. Every role player of the main 3 people must have the agenda with them so that they know whether they are going overboard or not. So when the timer comes to give timing, we'll say we are X minutes beyond time, or we are ahead of time. So that means you still have. So the table topic speaker, the table topic master will take the cue to either sacrifice the number of topics or increase the number of topics so that you can also finish at the appropriate time, and then call the timer report again, and then he again says we are in time or not on time, and then it is given to the general evaluator. The general evaluator comes in and starts saying that my task is to evaluate the meeting right from the beginning till now. And to help me, I have a couple of role players. So we will begin with the evaluation of the speeches. Then you call for the timer because the timer needs to give the guidelines for the speech evaluation. Because if you remember, the timer said at the beginning that I will give the qualifying times when called for, but nobody called them. So why we say call at every point and not rattle it off right in the beginning is because we may be Toastmaster, but remember, we have to take care of the guests. If you rattle off all the time, when that thing actually comes, they don't know why he was disqualified. So we need to give it only at that appropriate time. The best thing is we do not, only the word of the day is said, so and so use the word of the day n times. But when the good usage comes in, we do not say who said it. And when there is an incorrect usage of the English language, we do not actually say who said it, but we only say that I heard this in the context of the speech. It should have been so and so. That's how it is. The best thing is when you give a grammarian's report, you have to begin with the word of the day so that people who have used the word feel happy about it. You then go on to the good usage of the language, then you go to the incorrect usage, and finally you come down to mention if there are any pronunciation errors. So you actually divide the page into 4 quarters. On the top, you will write good. On this side, you will write incorrect. This side, you will write word of the day, and this side, you will write pronunciation. So as you hear, put it into those blocks. So it'll be easier when you're giving out the report, you say all the good usage and one shot, all the incorrect, the word of the day and the pronunciation. So your report is comprehensive rather than touching on something here and then going here. The learning cannot happen well. When you hear everything together, that's when the learning takes place. So those things were a few of the things that I noticed, and probably I'll send you the flow and various other things. Even the timer cards are there to which you can display. if the Zoom permits you, then it should be a screen sharing. I could share the screen, the timer cards with you as well, so that you can show the green. And yeah, it's not a traffic signal, so we avoid saying amber and we say yellow. Yeah. So these are the few of the things that I would like. And I'm happy to see how happy you people are and how enthusiastic you all are in preparation. Oh yes, there was something that I needed to also speak about. Pooja, you need to avoid oscillating. That's what I found you coming in. So keep yourself, position yourself before you begin to speak. Mark your, see, when you come on stage, if you know you're going to speak, and before you put on your camera and come into the meeting, check yourself, see where you need, mark your position, your speaking position, and if you're standing, see whether your whole body or 3/4 of your body can be seen, and whether the voice can be heard. You do that much before you actually come in. So please try and control your movement, your oscillation. Dheeraj, your hand gestures were good, but imagine if you are on stage and you have a very sensitive microphone. Oh, the clap and the gestures. I think you were, I think you were very excited in your speech, so I could hear all claps, and which was slightly disturbing because your speech was so good, but this was distracting me, right? So you need to be careful about the sounds that you make, which are not part of the speech. Right. So those were some of the things that I noticed, and thank you very much for the opportunity to.
Please do come often, as much as possible, because I know that will be so very useful. All of us are very keen to learn and improve. Please come.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Thank you.
So, President, if you have time, I have just 1-2 things to say. Is it okay now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And I don't want to go much more. Mr. Nair has done a good job of doing all the details. Only 2 things I would like to just suggest. One is that for the timer, there's an app in the system, Toastmasters International, which if you put it up, the timer, when you press it up, it shows a green, yellow, and the red just behind him. It remains constant, so that so the speaker knows that he's in the green, he's in the yellow, or in the red. So just see that. If you want, I can send the app to you, so you can use it. So next time. And secondly, the general evaluation. What Mr. Nair has done is a general evaluation. So you should have one general evaluator at the end of the speech. See, all the speakers have done. Then you come to the word of the day by the grammarian. Then the general evaluator. What Mr. Arvind has done, Nair has done is a general evaluation. So the general evaluator should do that at that time. He should evaluate all the speakers, evaluators, and the grammarian also. So he should be experienced to express this. So maybe I would suggest you should invite some of the general evaluators in the past, presidents or the district holders. You should invite them so that they can tell you the improvement areas for improvement. That's all I would
We have our mentor coming in.
Okay, good.
But because today are festival all over India, so getting someone to come today was a bit difficult. That's why we were a bit this. Otherwise, normally we have someone from coming to help us.
Another thing is that if there is a holiday, better don't keep it there, because no point in having 3-4 guys and not holding a proper meeting. The meeting should be done well, so it goes systematically, so that people get benefit of that. If you are not sure that people are not going to come, generally here in Singapore we cancel, we postpone it. Suppose if the meeting falls on a Christmas day, so there is no Toastmasters meeting on a public holiday. So if it's, I don't know if it's a public holiday there. If it is, don't need to hold it. Yeah.
But this festival is for certain groups only. It's not like a big national festival.
Okay. I'm just
so like today is Gudi Padwa for Maharashtrians.
Okay.
So yeah, but even then I think in fact,
I'm really impressed that really serious. I'm very impressed by such a. This is a second meeting or first meeting?
After a charter meeting, it's a first, but
Yeah,
this is
it's a great. What you guys have done is a wonderful thing. It's really good. I'm not, good speakers, good presentations, very, very well organized. It's very good. There's always scope for improvement. You can always go on improving. People can comment. So, but for the first chapter meeting, what you guys have done is a really good thing. I really admire what you guys have done. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you,
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining at this time. It must be very late for you, right?
I can't let down my sister,
I know.
Don't
He's talking from Singapore. He's from Singapore, so
It's 12 o'clock.
I know
Oh.
exactly.
You know, we have certain rights over our brothers, and I'm using those rights now.
Okay, well done. Keep it up.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Any help that you need from Singapore, invite a couple of grammarians and
that'll be lovely
ETs and all that. Let me know.
Yes.
But you got to tell me not just like what you did yesterday, not 24 hours notice. You got to give me at least 2 weeks in advance. So all are not free like me. Or my sister, yeah.
Now, I know that he's busy. He has gone out of his way for his sister.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
It's
for
my
going
pleasure.
out
Not
of
only
his
sister,
way.
even for a Toastmasters, you're all supposed to give back to the Toastmasters movement.
Yes.
Help them in any way that you can. That's what we are trying to do. So Manuel is still there or is gone?
Yes, she's here.
Here.
Hope my comments didn't come as a very rude, because I always believe in being very transparent and open, so that is for your own good. Because it's easy to comment, but this is the comment I give it to you so that you can improve further. That's all. Yeah.
Could I get 1 minute?
Yeah, please go
ahead. Avid's point that the speaker should be given the voice in the beginning, so he doesn't feel that suddenly in front of all the strangers, made me go and take that minute in the beginning before the speech. I knew he's going to ask me. I knew Krish is gonna say that I shouldn't have done it, but because the situation was as such, I wanted to make sure that people know why I am speaking, what speech I'm given, and I get the minute, so I stole it. The fact that you said that you wanted the speech to be about immigrating and the speech was about coins was the best give of the day, because the title created the other expectation, and I made again out of fear that many of the speakers would have no clue about who's this new face, even though I have my Indian shawl on. And that was extremely important. The coughing is the best lesson of the day, because the coughing is the black swan of a speaker. We were talking yesterday, yesterday I was in a Romanian club, and I shared with the fact that the Olympic speakers prepare for 6 minutes, so they accommodate in 1 minute any. In my case, that was the catastrophe. I'm not coughing. So this coughing was a blessing, because I had that minute to practically decide what I cut out of the speech, continue to stay calm despite the world coming down for me. I cut out the actual ending because I saw the red. Came at 1 second, I was done. But when I saw the report, I saw 7 minutes and 13 seconds. I was done the next second after the red was gone. So this 10, let's say, extra seconds could be critical, could kill the speech if they were. So please pay attention. We were here, but if it was 7:15 and then other 16 seconds would come up, people would lose the speech. But I was done at 7:01. And had I been able to put in the actual ending, Krish, you would have got it, your answer for immigration. My certificate of naturalization is dated December 2009, which is 20 years mark of the fall of Romanian fold of Iron Curtain. And that's how I'm going indirectly to exactly what you said, the immigration, that marker, only Kennedy up there could have, create that coincidence. But because of the coughing, I had to reschedule and stay calm. So that's such a good learning for all of us.
See, all of us go through an experience in the Toastmaster speaking, because first time when I spoke, I totally froze. I forgot my name. I'm supposed to introduce myself on the stage. I forgot my name. It happens. So you all learn. So nothing to feel ashamed. You got to be thick-skinned if you want to learn. So it happens. So it's okay that you coughed and all that. It's all right. It happens during a journey of Toastmastering. By the way, I forgot one more thing, Kusum. The thing is, the timer should give the timing of the speakers soon after they finish it, because in order for the evaluators to know whether you are on time, and some people, in case they exceed the time, what they should do. If they are below the time, what they should do. Yeah. So important, the timer should say that. But for evaluators, you don't have to give the timing. You can just say, all I have complied to the timing. That's okay. I think you guys are getting late. I don't want to have a few more things to say. I think this should be good enough for the day.
I think he can. Still, there are 5 minutes. Let him. Sir, if you've got something to say, please, we're learning.
No, these are the main thing. And only maybe one more thing is on the program sheet that you indicated. Somehow it's a bit confusing. Maybe I'll talk to Kusum directly afterwards. The program should be very clear. Yeah, saying that at this time, the speaker number 1 is going to speak. Because I had to struggle to find out what manual and what's the topic, what's a project she's going to do. Is it a pathway project, or is it a project number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? It should be very clear there.
Yeah, we've taken an old format.
I know, yeah.
We are planning to change the entire format.
We'll talk about it. It's not a big, it's okay. At least we started. This is the first meeting. For the first meeting, this is damn good. So there's no need to be so critical about the first meeting. You guys have done a good job. So always do that. Even when you evaluate, people who are there, you be very nice to them. Don't need to scare them with those too many things, Then they stop, they run away from the point. They said, this Toastmaster is headache for me, I better go home and stay, have my beer and watch the, Indian Idol or something like that. So be encouraging and, make them feel good. Then they'll stay on until they do the P10 project. Once they're P10, once they become the Toastmasters, certificate is given to them, then a bit critical, this is what you should do and all that. They'll take it to the, as an improvement. So it's a good, I'm really impressed that I spend my time with all of you. It's good. Only I think you need to improve on the, which we'll talk afterwards.
Yeah, that's what
yeah, that's what I want to say.
Thank you so much for your inputs.
No problem. Thank you. Yeah, anytime you need any help, let me know.
For sure.
Yeah. Good.
So friends, does anybody want to say anything to Manuela, any feedback, or would you like to give it to her privately? She's looking for feedbacks so that she's going to win the prize next Saturday. And we are
all the best.
All the best.
All the very best.
Please keep us updated about your progress. We would be very curious to know how you have fared at your contest. Yeah. And like I said, today was, let's use the word of the day, rejuvenating. Today was really rejuvenating. We had a variety of speakers with a variety of emotions, which really, you can say, uplifted our spirit. And yeah, so today was a very good speeches we heard. And I think it has already set our, the next few months, what we are going on. The bar is going higher and higher, and you all will have to start pulling up your socks, and oh, how am I going to better my last performance? So that's a big challenge, and I'm sure it's going to be very exciting for all of you. One appeal to all, please understand your pathways. I know pathways are very, very confusing. If you need any help, you can always speak to Gauran. In fact, Gauran, Girija and I, we can get together and help you all with your pathways. And once your pathways are fine, you'll have decided, please enroll it so that even the roster shows that how many of us have got enrolled for the pathways. Yeah. So the next meeting will be on 30th April, after 15 days, that is the 4th Tuesday. So now, shall we adjourn for the day?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.